AM 560. The Answer.
Their first principle of their entire philosophy is kill the baby. And when you can't pay for it, don't worry. Don't worry about it. We'll take the money from somebody else. From the time this racist commie tramp, and she was a tramp, known as the town pump before she became Margaret Sanger, all they want to do is control the population.
Well, I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world that have disease from their parents, that have no chance in the world to be a human being, practically. Delinquents, prisoners, all sorts of things just marked when they're born. That, to me, is the greatest sin that people can commit.
You know why I don't fear hell? She's just one of the people I get to kick the dung out of for eternity if I go there. You and every other rat pig Democrat, traitor to my country that poisoned citizens, knowing, and you did it anyway.
Since the EUA and under the EUA, approximately 20,000 pregnant women have been vaccinated with
Developing
no
right now,
red flag.
newly released texts from Dr. Anthony Fauci show he privately discussed COVID vaccine risks to pregnant women. Republican senators Rand Paul and Ron Johnson dropped the first batch of messages from Fauci's
If
government.
you had any dignity, you'd take a bath with a bottle of wine. Scumbag. Tom in Blue Island.
Sean Dittos.
Thank you, baby.
So, Sean, two things real quick. Again, this was called Operation Warp Speed. So if you're out there and you got vaccinated, other than you had to have your job or something, I don't know what to say. And I'm as big a Trump supporter as there is. He wasn't building a condominium. It's a vaccine. And that clip you played, Sean, is that not an admission by Fauci that these women were being used as guinea pigs? He's making a statement that there's been 20,000 pregnancies and we haven't seen any red flags yet.
I think
these
you're
women
making it.
were being used in a scientific experiment.
You're making it too nice. He wasn't experimenting. He knew what it did. He wasn't questioning the outcome. He had the evidence that it killed the baby, and he knew it. It's even worse than what you said. It's worse. He knew it.
One baby. So that's totally understandable. But the best way to explain that is to look at the facts that are really well known. Mm-hmm. And you balance these facts about risk versus benefit. The overwhelming balance of risk-benefit is in favor of pregnant women getting vaccinated against COVID-19. And the reason for that is, look at what we know for sure. What we know for sure, that if a pregnant woman gets infected and gets COVID-19, there are serious consequences for the pregnant woman herself, for the pregnancy, and for the fetus. If you look at it, preterm births, all kinds of complications that are exacerbated in a pregnant woman. Then you ask the question, well, are the vaccines safe? And if you look at the literally tens and tens and tens of thousands of women who have been followed by the CDC, who were vaccinated when they were pregnant, there's no indication whatsoever that there's any increase of any adverse issues in a pregnant woman who was vaccinated compared to a pregnant woman who wasn't vaccinated. And
That's a bald-faced lie. And you know who he's talking to, Squirrel? You know who he's talking to? He's talking to a woman by the name of Heidi Murkoff. She has a website, What to Expect. Now, I believe she also is the author of What to Expect When You're Expecting, which, if you know anything about pregnancy, that's the number one book everybody buys. So every woman listening to this lie, by the way, he admits he knew it was a lie. As he said it, this is after the text messages to the three scum who didn't say a word when this was going on. This is murder. It's murder.
Developing right now, newly released texts from Dr. Anthony Fauci show he privately discussed COVID vaccine risks to pregnant women. Republican senators Rand Paul and Ron Johnson dropped the first batch of messages from Fauci's government phone today in a January 2021 text chain between then CDC Director Rochelle Walensky and Dr. Vivek Murthy, who later became Surgeon General. Dr. Fauci, mentioned the second dose of the COVID shot, quote, theoretically could be associated with miscarriage in the first trimester.
He went on a show that the only people who watch it are pregnant women. And he said exactly the opposite. What is that called? What is it called? Speculation. I was just trying to be optimistic. You know what that's called in my neighborhood? Murder.
We all know that pregnancy, there is always a risk of a spontaneous miscarriage. There's always the situation. There's always situations when women get illness that could be preeclampsia, things like that. However, when you look at you
ever been around a pregnant girl, Squirrel? Oh, are they nervous? Whew. You blame it on hormones. I hope the babies. And they spend 99% of their time praying for the health of that baby. And they take these guys in butcher jackets called lab coats, and they pretend they're experts. This is one of them. And he knowingly poisoned. I said poisoned. You poisoned him. And you know who knows that? Everybody. The evidence has been out there, and you hit it. Here's Europe with their parliamentary nonsense and poppycock. I even like their accents. And they got the answer. Not one media personality could get on television. Not one media personality.
So a question then for you, Ms. Small, where I would like a clear answer, please.
So there are no misunderstandings. Was the Pfizer COVID vaccine tested on stopping the transmission of the virus before it entered the market? If not, please say it clearly. If yes, are you willing to share the data with this committee? And I really want a straight answer, yes or no, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Regarding the question around, did we know about stopping immunisation before it entered the market? No. We had to really move at the speed of science to really understand.
The speed of science, you dizzy pig. You mean at the speed of your commission? The speed of science? Science poisoned people, murdered babies, and created illnesses that you're still trying to name, not just Bell's palsy, which blends in with all you Democrat women, you ugly rats.
Understand what is taking place in the market. And from that point of view, we had to do everything at risk. I think our Dr. Bourla, even though he's not here, would turn around and say to you himself, if not us.
Well, that's not what the boob tube. That's not what the propagandist frauds who were bribed through one form of foreign policy or grants or some money that was chopped up after Barack Obama seized the White House. $30 trillion he added to the debt. And look what it bought. It bought the bioweapon. It bought the corruption and the propaganda to sell it. 2021, CNN, you communist news. I remember when it was the Clinton news. Now it's the Commie News. Commie News Network.
The Biden administration has come down hard on vaccine misinformation, but one Florida doctor has seemingly gone to great lengths to perpetuate it. 360's Randy Kay now with the story, the hunt to find him, and the reasons behind his actions.
He is the ultimate super spreader, not of the coronavirus, experts say, but of misinformation about COVID-19. His name is Dr. Joseph Mercola.
It is very likely that most people in America, if not the vast majority of people in America, have seen misinformation that has originated with this super spreader of lies and misinformation.
That's exactly why the Center for Countering Digital Hate, a nonprofit tracking misinformation about COVID online, put Dr. Mercola, an osteopathic physician, at the top of its disinformation dozen. A list of 12 people, the group says, were the source for sharing 65% of all anti-vaccine messaging on.
And they were all correct, all heroes, all patriots to their country, but moreover, all the doctors that believed in their oath to do no harm. And they were only a few, and they were attacked by frauds, which is why, listen to me now. I don't care if you're pregnant, if you have cancer, whatever it is. You ask your doctor simply, did Joe Biden legitimately win the 2020 election? If he says yes, you get your purse and you get the hell away from them. They're frauds.